Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Joy Limnacker, and we have breaking news in a case that we've been following very closely here on Court TV. So just into our newsroom a short time ago, doomsday cult mom Lori Vallow Daybell now facing a first-degree conspiracy murder charge in the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. The Chandler, Arizona Police Department has just released the probable cause statement underlying the conspiracy to murder charge against Lori in the death of her husband, Charles Vallow, on July 11th of 2019. Court TV legal correspondent Tammy Daybell, of course, you've been following this case from the beginning, and you have more on what we've learned from these documents, which I understand to be pretty damning.
Yeah, there are some bombshell revelations inside this 13-page probable cause affidavit supporting the new indictment against Lori Vallow Daybell from Arizona. The Chandler Police Department has been investigating conspiracy to commit murder charges of Lori Vallow's fourth husband, Charles Vallow. He was shot to death July 11, 2019 by Lori Vallow Daybell's brother, Alex Cox, who has since passed away. But within this 13-page indictment, and Joy, I'm still pouring through all of the new information that we're learning. Here's a bit of some of what it says. We could put it up on the screen. It says that the investigators from the Chandler Police Department, Gilbert Police Department, Rexburg Police Department, Fremont County Sheriff's Office, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations began to coordinate efforts to locate JJ and Tylee and also investigate the respective cases within their jurisdiction. So this coordinated effort consisted of numerous search warrants on telephone records, social media accounts, bank records, medical records, email accounts, residences, and seized electronic devices. As a result of the data recovered, it was believed that none of the mentioned crimes were coincidence or justifiable. Specifically to Chandler, Arizona, the evidence shows that Charles' death was a planned event and necessary to prevent Charles and others from confronting Lori about her extreme religious beliefs when he, Charles, came to town in Arizona on July 11, 2019. The death of Charles Vallow was also necessary in order for Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow to marry and fulfill the religious prophecy. So that's some of what this affidavit says. It goes on to outline the key evidence that they refer to here, those text messages, the emails, the digital data. It puts forth several text messages that started back in 2018 concerning Charles Vallow that the authorities here are pointing to show this premeditation or this plan to do something about Charles Vallow, which we've already reported here, Joy, that Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell and others like-minded in these religious beliefs believed that Charles Vallow, he told the police himself in body cam video that they said he was taken over by some dark spirit, Nick or Ned Schneider, and this document outlines these extreme type beliefs towards Charles Vallow, confirmed through text messages, and it goes on to talk about the other co-conspirators in this crime. Now, it's heavily redacted. There are pages just marked out in this probable cause affidavit, but even still, we're able to learn more about what exactly happened the morning of July 11, 2019, when Charles Vallow was shot by Alex Cox. At the time, Alex said self-defense, but these authorities saying, no, this was premeditated, it was planned. Lori Vallow was a conspirator.
Wow, it is incredible. And of course, you know, just kind of to bring this into focus for our viewers, this is all happening in Arizona, everything that you're describing. But a lot of what we've been covering is the case in Idaho. And there was supposed to be a status hearing today, which was then vacated. So what's the latest with that?
Yeah, that was something we were anticipating today. It was filed in the court documents in East Idaho and Fremont County for the conspiracy to commit destruction of evidence case filing, not the murder case filing. That was also interesting. A status conference was set today. It was vacated kind of last minute here. No reason given as to why it was vacated and no reason as to why it would be rescheduled. There's no date set to reschedule it. We do know that Lori Vallow Daybell was committed to a mental facility there in the state of Idaho. This was an order by the judge several weeks ago. based on a psychological assessment deeming her not fit to stand trial. She faces murder charges for her children, for conspiracy to commit murder of Tammy Daybell, her fifth husband's first wife, and also now conspiracy to commit murder for Charles Vallow. I just have to point out some of the interesting things we're learning in this document, Joy, also go to how Charles Vallow was shot. He was shot twice in the abdomen, but it didn't quite match up with Alex Cox's story that he told police at the time. We also learned that there was a significant delay, more than 45 minutes before Alex Cox actually called the police. Charles Vallow had been dead for that time before he called 911, and we have that 911 call where we hear him talk about shooting his brother-in-law in self-defense, and that Lori had taken Tylee and JJ from the home, took them to McDonald's that morning and went to buy some flip-flops, knowing what had happened to Charles Vallow when she returned.
That is incredible. You know, Chanley, I'm very curious because now you're following what's happening in Arizona with this case and what's happening in Idaho with this case. And for our regular Court TV viewers, you know, they've been watching the Durst trial where we're looking at two other murders, or I should say disappearance. The prosecution is trying to prove the murder of his first wife, Durst's first wife. And we've seen that brought into a trial for another woman, right? So I'm wondering, my question to you, how much of what we're seeing out of Arizona is going to then come into this case out of Idaho?
Joy, you're kind of breaking up on my end. Could you just repeat the last part of your question one more time?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm wondering, just all of these revelations out of Arizona, how much is that going to play into everything unfolding in Idaho?
Great question. Yes, that is something that we expect to play out in Idaho first. Those were charges that were filed previously in priority and where all of the action has taken place as far as the assessment, the mental capabilities of Lori Vallow Daybell there have been evaluated in Idaho. So it indications from the Maricopa County Attorney's Office and those investigators are that while they have indicted Lori Vallow Daybell, the cases in East Idaho would take priority. Of course, all of that is on hold right now because the judge placed a stay in all of her criminal actions. There's 3 different case filings for Lori Vallow Daybell in East Idaho. Those are all on hold for her treatment, for restorative treatment for her mental health, because she's not competent yet to stand trial. So that means she doesn't understand the charges against her, according to a professional. She doesn't have the ability to help her defense counsel represent her case. So until she is deemed competent to do those things, she will remain in a mental facility.
And how likely is it, in your opinion, because you've been following it so closely, that she will ultimately be deemed competent at some point?
Well, this is something competency can change within a day. It could change a couple of days from now. She could be deemed competent, or it could be a couple of years from now. It's likely all in her hands or in her mental restorative health treatment. But what we do know based on Idaho law is that she is committed for a period of 90 days at a mental facility. At the end of that 90 days, the judge will receive all of the reports from the experts treating her. If they recommend that she is competent, then she could stand trial, or it could be in the foreseeable future. If she's not yet competent to stand trial, she would go back to treatment for another 180 days, and then it would just continue on and on until she is competent. If this lasts for many, many years down the road, there could be some motions, I'm sure, from the defense to dismiss criminal charges or to permanently commit her in a mental facility. We'll just have to wait and see how it unfolds.
Chanley, what else should our viewers be watching out for with both the Arizona developments and Idaho developments?
Well, we should be watching out for what this may mean for her husband, Chad Daybell, who's also charged with first-degree murder charges of his wife and Lori Vallow's 2 children, and those conspiracy charges. Now, within this 13-page probable cause affidavit for the Arizona charges, it does name Chad Daybell quite a bit throughout these pages. A lot of the other names are heavily redacted. Based on our research and knowing of some of the facts, we can guess the names that are blacked out in the document, but it does refer to how much Chad Daybell knew about the alleged plan to murder Charles Vallow. It indicates that he was aware of the messages and the dark spirit that had taken over Charles Vallow. It also insinuates that Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell were connected in a way more intimately than they let on at the time before Charles Vallow's death. So I guess what to be seen is how this may affect an investigation into his role into Charles Vallow's death.
Yeah, that's something definitely that we're going to have to watch out for here on Court TV. Well, thank you so much. Chanley Painter, of course, you've been following the case of Lori Vallow Daybell, and you're live now in Louisville, Kentucky, following the golf cart murder trial. So thank you so much for all your expertise and your hard work.
Thanks, Joy.